Are you ready for some tea? Some wedding tea? Well, welcome to my YouTube channel and podcast. It's Desiree here, and I'm so excited to see you. Allow me to sit this down. Well, I am back with another one of my real wedding, crazy wedding stories. And yeah, this one is kind of funny and sad all at the same time. So let's go ahead and get started. Allow me to tell you the title. I'm going to call this story, We Them Boys. We Them Boys. And man, do I have one for you today. So let me go ahead and give you a little bit of background, like I usually do, about the couple. So this was a couple who had hired for planning services. And this was a little while back and earlier on in my career. They were having their ceremony and reception at a banquet location in the suburbs, pretty far out suburbs. They were having a morning wedding, meaning they were getting married around 11 o'clock and then having a lunch reception with the conclusion of the day being about 3 o'clock because the venue also had an evening wedding that was going to be taking place. So everything for this day had to start early. Hair and makeup, getting dressed, all of those things were going to start fairly early, about 6 in the morning, to be honest with you. And so we needed to make sure that everything ran as smoothly as possible and stayed on time, simply because we knew we had a hard stop at 3 o'clock because the banquet facility said that the next wedding had to start setting up in our space at about 3:30. I also wanted to share that this was a really lovely couple. I did truly enjoy working with them. The mom, she was a single parent. She had a son. And the groom didn't have any children, but he embraced his soon-to-be wife's son just like it was his own. So he was going to be, I could tell, was going to be a very, very wonderful stepfather to this little boy. And the little boy himself, not going to really get into kids because that's not my thing. He was going to be the ring bearer. And just let me say, before we even get into the story, he cried all the way down the aisle. It was the cutest thing. I even have a picture of this. This boy started at the door crying. He cried all the way up to the altar. Then during the ceremony, he cried. I mean, he was just crying the whole entire day. But anyways, let's move past that. So allow me to say this. The planning process went along fairly smoothly. One thing about this banquet location is because they provided tables, chairs, a lot of the decor, linens, cake, all of that, there was not a lot of planning that had to be done on our end as far as securing vendors, okay? But when it comes down to the timeline, you know how I am about a timeline, I had to make sure everything was precise because, again, we had a hard stop at 3 o'clock. So this wedding was planned pre-COVID. So this was also a time in which I took face-to-face meetings. Zoom wasn't a thing, okay? So it was during the planning process, they would either come to my office or I would visit them, let's say at a central location like a Starbucks or a Panera Bread to have our planning meetings. One of the meetings in particular, because most of the time I met with the bride, but one of those meetings in particular, the groom came. And he was really quiet. He wasn't a guy who had a lot to say. And pretty much this was how he felt about the day, is that it was his lady's day. She could do whatever she want. He was just going to be there for moral support. I didn't notice much about the groom outside of him, again, being a quiet gentleman. But he did have a cup that had a clear substance in it, okay? I have to guess it was water and nothing else. I did come to find out that this gentleman was a trainer. He ate healthy. He did all of the right things in life that he was supposed to do to secure his temple, to secure his body. So again, I have to believe that this was water. And I didn't see anything crazy going on. He was able to answer questions. All was well. The bride was happy. She was smiling. Oh, and the little boy, he wasn't at the meeting, so he wasn't crying. So now let's go ahead. The planning process is over. The timeline is solidified. It's now time for wedding rehearsal. Their wedding rehearsal in particular was on a Friday. And when I tell you this suburb was pretty far out and this couple lived in the city, probably all of their wedding party members lived in the city as well. So getting to this venue on a Friday during rush hour was pretty challenging. I had built in the extra time into the timeline because I had to be honest. I knew no one was going to be on time. Heck, I had a hard time trying to be there on time, okay? Traffic was insane. Wedding rehearsal. The bride was there, the bridesmaids were there, the groom was there, and a few of his best men. He didn't have all of them there, but I was pretty okay with that. And like many times that I have shared, not everyone is present at the wedding rehearsal for whatever reason. It could be traffic, they could live out of state, it could be a time in which they still have to work, whatever that may be. I'm okay with not having everyone at the wedding rehearsal. But what I did notice that seemed a bit awkward is that, yes, we had a few of the groomsmen at the rehearsal, but most of them weren't there. I didn't have a clue as to why. I said to the bride and the groom, hey, let's wait a little longer. I've built in some time. Let's wait about 15 minutes longer to determine if these gentlemen are going to be able to make it. If they are not, we're going to go ahead with rehearsal because we need to get in and out because once again, we have an early start time the next day, which was a Saturday. And so I wanted to make sure everyone got to their designated locations, able to eat, able to rest, do what they needed to do so that call time for about 6 in the morning for these ladies to get hair and makeup done, that they were up bright and chipper. Well, about 15 minutes later, I said, let's go ahead and start the rehearsal because the guys had not made it. The groom was pretty comfortable with that. He had called and he had said they're en route, but traffic is blah, blah, blah. We go ahead and we start to progress with the wedding rehearsal. And here comes the guys running into the rehearsal location. And I'm like, hey guys, how are you? I'm Desiree, blah, blah, blah. Let's fall into line. But they were on 10. When I tell you they were hyped, they were excited. And I'm like, okay, hey, I need y'all to calm down. I need y'all to focus so that we can get through this rehearsal because there was another rehearsal probably going to happen after us. I'm almost pretty sure of that. And you all have an early day tomorrow, so I know you need to head on back to your homes, head on back into the city to make sure that you are here tomorrow morning on time to do what needs to be done. All right, the guys, they still hyped, doing their thing. I got through my notes. I told everybody so that they could understand that the ladies, your call time's at 6 o'clock for hair and makeup, blah, blah, blah. Gentlemen, I need you over at this location at 9:30 a.m. Our ceremony is going to begin at 11. Photographer is going to be coming over here at about 10. So I need you here at 9:30. Make sure you get into the location. Make sure you're good. And then the photographer will come and start taking photographs. The men act like they understood. Once again, they are doing the most. They're hyped. I'm like, okay, God, this is going to be a really exciting bunch. It's going to take a lot for me to reel them in, but I was cool with that. As the rehearsal concludes, I hear the guys having a conversation with the groom. To make a long story short, the gentlemen who were late had rented a party bus. The party bus was out front of the banquet location, all right? They had rented a party bus to take the groom back into the city, Chicago, take him downtown for a bachelor party. The groom had no clue that this was going to happen. Once again, the guys were late because they were getting a party bus. Party bus is out here. The groom needs to get on the party bus. They're going to go ahead and head on downtown. I overheard this conversation and I went over to him. I was like, hey, y'all, listen. I love a good bachelor party, but I need y'all to be here at 9:30 in the morning. And could you all please not drink a lot because we've got to start this ceremony at 11 o'clock. The guys smiled at me. They're like, yeah, Desiree, blah, blah, blah. We're all good. The groom seemed to be excited about this. So they all depart and they get on the party bus. The ladies, they were going to go off and do their thing, probably prep for the next day. But they didn't have a bachelorette party planned. I will say that the bride had actually went on a little vacation with her girls a couple weeks prior, and that is when they had their bachelorette celebration. So I'm like, all right, we conclude rehearsal. Guys are gone. Ladies are leaving. I have the wedding inventory. Timeline is great. I'm like, I will see everybody tomorrow morning over at the hotel when I come check in with you all. And then I'll head on over to the venue. Cool. Now let's go ahead on and jump into the wedding day. Y'all are not going to believe what happened that wedding morning. When I tell y'all, I was so shocked, almost tickled to death, but feeling bad all at the same time. Woo, y'all. Them boys, them boys, them boys.